your community has not known about the age of consent under 18 in 40 states, 44 states with child marriage. They have not known this. And the world record that you got at at 7 years old, girls they was having sex with 7-year-old girls. Now, if you had studied books concerning laws that would tell you the age of consent, someone in your culture, then your culture would have known this. Someone has to be the one that leads us. You have had, in essence, because of this, no leaders. You can't. People say, "Well, who do you blame?" I say, you never had no leaders. That's why it is the way it is. If the family unit is broken down, then you can assume all of this is broken down. All of this is broken down. You ain't had no leaders. Where? Who? That didn't tell that told you this? Because you don't want to be honest about this, and I have to. In the times of the civil rights movement, when you had Martin Luther King Jr., you had Malcolm X, and the likes of others, this information was still here. I know you don't want to accept that, do you? You don't want to accept that nobody told you nothing while they was talking about everything else. And I understand, like I said, I give a slight pass to the MLKs of the world and the Malcolm X's of the world, because they were fighting so hard concerning trying to just live. But however, and this is not an insult to any of those guys, we can't be one-track minded. Okay, you're fighting for civil rights. You're fighting for black vote. Okay, let's talk about what happened with these children. Because this happened in 1880, which was way before the civil rights movement. You see where I'm going with this? So why didn't any of your leaders bring up the fact that America had the age of consent at 7 years old in the state of Delaware in 1880? How come none of your leaders talked about it on a platform? None of them. I mean, it's a good note of information. Malcolm X could have told you it happened in 1880. Martin Luther King Jr. could have told you it happened in 1880. Now you see what I'm saying? Now you see what I'm saying. The Black Panthers could have told you. They ain't tell you, did they? All these Ku Klux Klansmen, they ain't tell you. They could have, they talking about protecting their country and all of this, that, and the third. I'm pretty sure all of them are not pedophiles. I'm pretty sure all the KKK is not pedophiles. They don't even know this. And can you honestly say they would stand behind this country, knowing this country was having sex with 7-year-old girls? See, something was supposed to be overthrown after this came out. That's a 7. Something. I don't know what, but something. I'm going to say I don't know what in totality, but something should have been overthrown when Americans found out that America was having sex with 7-year-old girls by law. By law. And you see, you know what it at least would have done? If this information about the world record came out, you wouldn't still have people passing laws about child marriage. That's a 7. Thank you, Lord. You would at least not have politicians in American government still passing laws. They still doing it. But if you have been aware and educated on the year of, now you see where I'm going with this? In the year of 1880, that the age of consent was at 7 years old. If you had educated yourself on this, no one would be passing child laws at all, and you would have the age of consent at 18 in all 50 states. I think most people would be compelled to do that when you've been having sex by law and government from the American government with 7-year-old girls, which no other country has done in history. You could talk about the present day lowest age, which is what, Yemen and Nigeria, right? But that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna say You so simple as an American. Well, who has the lowest age of consent in the world? That's all you did. That's all you did. Oh, well, it wasn't us, but you got the world record, buddy. Those present countries that right now have the lowest age of consent, the lowest right now, they still haven't beat you with the world record in America in the state of Delaware. In 1880, they were having sex with 7-year-old girls. So you can bring up Yemen, you can bring up Nigeria, you can bring up any of these countries out east. They still have not done what you have done by government. They still haven't done it. And you can play games all you want, but this is your destruction. Your community that's playing games, guess what? When they play games with people and witch hunt people, they're under that judgment too. That's a 7. Well, if you're playing with somebody that's telling this truth and you think it's a game, you're good as dead. And I don't care what human and what age of human it is. If you're playing with somebody that's talking about 44 states with child marriage, you think it's a game? You think it's a gimmick? I don't care what you feel. Your feelings are irrelevant. If you're playing with me, you're soon to die. Because your whole country is uneducated concerning this. Like I said, in the state of Delaware in 1880, they had the age of consent at 7 years old. If you had knew this, if all these leaders that's been in your country had knew this, then you would still not be passing laws. You wouldn't be passing laws presently. The last law you passed was 3 years ago. 3 years ago. The last law they passed was 3 years ago. What you waiting around for? You know you're dead, right? What you waiting around for? You might as well start digging your grave. Well, it's nobody in America that agrees 3 years ago with child marriage. That's a 7. Al. Nobody agrees with child marriage 3 years ago. So why is your American government passing laws 3 years ago? Anybody agree with child marriage 3 years ago? Then why did your American government pass laws 3 years ago for child marriage? I can't make this up. I know it seemed like a dream, don't it? It seems surreal. That's one of the terms. Surreal. It doesn't seem real, do it? It is. They just passed laws, real laws. I ain't talking about conspiracies. You see the difference between me and these other guys? I'm telling you about the laws. They never got around to doing that. I'm telling you about the laws. And this tells you why you shouldn't obey this government. You ain't got to say nothing else to them. Your laws are so corrupt and bad, I don't feel the need to obey you. I don't feel the need to obey you. You got 44 states with child marriage. You can't be serious. Anybody will understand that. Any other country will understand that. Even some of these Americans will understand that. Why I would want you overthrown. Okay? You got 44 states with child marriage. Enough said. I don't need to say anything else. And you just passed the last child marriage law 3 years ago. Just now 3 years ago. July made 3 years. That's just 2 months away. That's just over 3 months. That's 3 years and 2 months over. 3 years and 2 months ago. You passed by government child marriage laws. It should be no child marriage laws passed. 3 years ago, when it's not the mentality of the community of America. Is it the mentality? Anybody want to marry children here? Anybody out there on the streets want to marry children? You want to wife up a child? You want your child to be a hubby? You want a child hubby? You want a child wifey? Anybody want a child wifey? You want a child hubby? What is your wife going to do for Christmas? Is she gonna stamp her to the Christmas tree? Hey, if you marry a child, what happens in Christmas time? You're a couple. I'm saying if somebody who married a child, right? What happens on Christmas at Christmas time? Does your child wake up and stamp her? Does your wife wake up and stamp her to the Christmas tree? Hey, your wife stampers to the Christmas tree because she's a child. Can you imagine these people that marry children? Think about the holidays. Think about when they go to the restaurant. Do your child wife sits at the child table? When she goes to Denny's, do she sit at the child table? Hey, it's a child. Yeah. We know you're going to the child section to buy clothes for your wife. Now, I know some small, petite women do that, but they're really doing it. What y'all do on Valentine's Day? All you guys that's married to children, what do you do on Valentine's Day? Oh, do you send her those little candy hearts in an envelope? Hey, she might have an allergic reaction to roses, you know. It might make a nose run. Might be too much for her. A dozen of roses is bigger than her whole body, bigger than her head, at least, bigger than her torso. What are you gonna do for Valentine's Day? You gonna get her roses or candies in envelopes? You can't get her these big gigantic teddy bears. It's bigger than her. What's she gonna do with it? She can't even pick it up. You throw it at her, it'll make her fall down. See, you tried to play with me and tried to beat me. You can't beat me, man. Okay? Oh, what she do at Easter time? Do you give her an Easter egg hunt? That's your wife. She's a kid. You gotta still let her live out her youth, don't you? So do you give your wife at Easter time an Easter egg hunt in the backyard? What other holiday? Oh, 4th of July. What you get her? Sparklers? Do she like sparklers on the 4th of July? Oh, on Halloween. What you do? You get her a little jack-o'-lantern? Your wife going door to door? You going door to door with your wife? You got a child wifey? What you do for Thanksgiving? You know she can't eat that much. So what you do? Make a little hen? A little corn hen? Or you get a little rotisserie chicken instead of a big turkey? You know she can't eat all those leftovers. What other holiday? Like I said, Christmas, what she do? Stamp her to the tree? When did you get me? When did you get me? Do you leave her little cookies out for Christmas? Y'all drink warm milk and eat cookies? What do you do? I'm wondering. What you do for her birthday? You take her to Chuck E. Cheese? Do you take your wife to Chuck E. Cheese if you marry a child wife? Do you take her to Chuck E. Cheese on her birthday? Well, she can't go to a bar now, can she? She can't go to Chili's and Applebee's now, can she? So you gotta have an alternative. You take her to Chuck E. Cheese, don't you? When you go to McDonald's through the drive-thru, do you get your wife a Happy Meal? I can go all day with this, man. This is ridiculous. You get her a Happy Meal. Do you get your wife a Happy Meal when y'all go to McDonald's through the drive-thru? You know she can't eat a quarter pounder. I'm pretty sure she can't eat a quarter pounder. If you buy her a quarter pounder, what you do? You cut it in half with a knife. Y'all got 44 states with child marriage in your country. You can't be serious. I win. I'm captain whether you accept it or not. And I ain't Captain America either. You got these people taking their wives through the drive-through of McDonald's and getting Happy Meals. You still got to feed her like a child. Hey, that's real. You can't make her eat like a woman. That part. She still has to enjoy the holidays, I'm guessing. Weird, sick weirdos probably love all of that. Let me buy my wife a Happy Meal. Sick bastard probably likes it. That's probably part of it. Probably part of the sexual get off. Doing all the child things that she's supposed to do as a child. That's probably part of the get off. You want to watch her have an Easter egg hunt. And then you have sex with her after that. Hey, I'm telling you the reality. Let's talk about the reality. You got 44 states with child marriage. Whether you like it or you don't like it. I don't care which one. You got 44 states with child marriage here. These people are sleeping with children every night. You don't think somebody's married to a child and they done passed 44 states with child marriage? You don't think one person is married to one? You can investigate. I'm pretty sure it might be information you can't find because they know people will kill them. You don't think they're going to have some kind of privacy with them marrying children? So how can you be sure about that? One thing's for sure, they don't pass 44 states with child marriage and somebody don't have sex with children. Or married children, I mean. Somebody's married to a child right now. Whether you like it or not. And you got the world record. Oh, let me tell you also. When you pass the law in 1880, when your country passed a law in 1880, right? When your country passed a law in 1880 in the state of Delaware, 7 years old, the rest of the country, the age of consent was 10 and 12 years old. So throughout the rest of the country, besides the state of Delaware being at 7 years old, the rest of the country was 10 years old and 12 years old for the age of consent. Go look at the age of consent in America in the year 1880. It was 10 years old for most 10 and 12 years old for most states in the year 1880. In the year 1880, most states had the age of consent at either 10 years old or 12. This is facts, guys. This is facts. This is not conspiracy. This is not my opinion. This is not my emotional assumption. In the year 1880, most of the states here had the age of consent at either 10 years old or 12. And the lowest at that time was the state of Delaware at 7 years old. So I'm trying to understand why your country is still here. You just passed a law. Just some people say, well, this stuff is not relevant. You know how people are now, especially the 20-year-olds. Well, how relevant is this now? You want me to tell you how relevant it is now? You just passed a law 3 years ago. July 1st, 2019. Right? A year before COVID. That's not relevant enough to you? And you know what? For all you 20-somethings listening, it's always going to be relevant the laws that was passed July 1st, 2019, those laws are always going to be relevant because it was a year before COVID-19. So anytime you tell somebody, oh, well, these laws were passed a year before COVID, I don't care if it's 20 years from now. Really? They passed a law that allows adults to marry children at any age? The year before COVID? Just that attachment is going to make it always relevant. That's a 7. Ow. It's always going to be relevant because it was a year before COVID. They passed the law 3 years ago. Not even 5 years, not half a decade, less than half a decade. 3 years, just now 3 years in July. This past spring, it was 2 years. This year, it was 2 years earlier this year. It wasn't totally 3 years. This year, earlier this year, it was 2 and some change. That's not relevant enough to you? That they pass real child laws that people can marry children. Let's talk about what this means. Because you hear it and some of you are just airheads. You hear this, but you're not listening. These are laws that people can marry children. This happened less than 3 years ago in America. Here. Under the Trump's administration. Trump knew about it. Well, he was sitting right there in the White House. Sitting around farting, eating fast food in the White House. Just like a bushwhack redneck. Eating fast food in the White House. You got access to all foods and any type of foods. He gonna get McDonald's. You Yankee redneck. He's a Yankee redneck. He was sitting up in office when this law was passed. Now, some people would say, well, he didn't pass the law. Well, how simple are you? Are you a simpleton? Like the 20-year-olds say now, are you a simp? I think you a simp. I think you a simp. Well, you're already a simp when you don't know 44 states got child marriage. You a simp now. You already a simp. But I'm letting that part, I'm getting past that part. You're also a simp if you think Donald Trump didn't know nothing about it. He was the president. The president knows about all the laws that are passed, period. Whether he does it, whether he passed them himself or not. You don't think he get an email or a memo about it? He's the president. All those laws that get passed, they don't get passed literally every single day. Think about it now. They're not passing laws every day in America, right? So you don't think he gets emails when they do get passed? That's a 7. They don't pass laws 365 days of a year here in America, do they? Now, do they do that? They don't do that, right? So you don't think the government would send Donald Trump a memo or email informing him that July 1st, 2019, adults can marry children at any age in America? You don't think he got a memo or email? Won't you ask him? Won't you ask the government, did they do it? Won't you ask the White House staff, did they do that? Did they send Donald Trump a memo or email July 1st, 2019, allowing him to know that his country passed a law. His country passed a law that allows adults to marry children at any age, no minimum age. In 12 states, I think it started out, and then went up to 20 states. Now they try to shave it off so they can deceive you to 9 states so it don't look that bad. But it's still here, which means to me, because that lets me know they simple. If it's still here, that means you don't care if it's here. You just want it to look a certain way. Well, if you didn't want to hear it all, it would be abolished now, wouldn't it? So you just want it to look good enough. It still look bad. You know how many counties it is in one state? So you know how many counties are allowed to marry children at any age? Yeah, see, that's how I broke it down, just in case you try to do that one state stuff. You know how big one state is? You know how many people that is? You know how many counties that is that allows adults to marry children at any age? It's still bad if it's one state. It's a whole piece of land with counties, each county allowing adults to marry children at any age in all those counties. That's a 7. Yeah, you try to dress it up and clean it up, it didn't work to a man like me. I'm too smart for that. Yeah. So we do know that Donald Trump had to receive some type of email. We can at least establish that. He may have not passed the law. He may have had no say in it. He may have not come to a hearing or a court hearing or whatever. But it's safe to say, him being at the time the commander-in-chief, that he had some type of email or memo given to him, to his personal phone even. It probably popped up on his personal phone. Just so he got it. I'm pretty sure he got some kind of app. He probably has some kind of app that allows him to know the laws. What else you need on your phone as the president? That part, 7. What other notifications you need? 7. That's a 7, baby. What other notifications you need besides laws being passed as the president on your phone? Think about it. The biggest notification, some kind of that you would want or need, would be the passing of laws, being notified by some app, which I'm sure they have, some app notifying you, going across your phone, telling you the laws that were passed at that day. So it's safe to say, and if you Google it, I checked it already out. The president has to review all laws passed. I already Googled it. He has to review all laws passed. See the difference between me and you? You want me to tell you the difference between me and you and your country, the whole thing, the 333 million people that's here? Want me to tell you the difference between me and y'all? You talk about stuff you don't even know happened. Was you there? You talking about stuff that has no activity. You see any actions? See any activity? That's the difference between me and you. You in a dreamland. I'm telling you about everything that's happening. 44 states with child marriage. Donald Trump was the administration just 3 years ago when they passed the last law concerning child marriage. You got the world record over the whole world for the age of consent, having sex with children. You have the world record. I'm telling you all facts while you ain't got no facts. You ain't got the whole totality of facts that forms the right definition. You don't. The definitions you have on me is not something that would incriminate me. That's a 7. The full definitions I have of you forms your defeat. You can't be serious. You cannot be serious. I don't care what you think about me. I tell you one thing, I ain't marrying no children. I tell you that. And y'all ain't crying about that. You know why? Because you're suckers. You suckers. You scared suckers. Cowards. You scared of the government. I ain't scared of none of that. I ain't scared of no Freemasons. I ain't scared of no Illuminati. I ain't scared of no government bankers and all of that. All bankers and world bankers. I ain't scared of none of that. And you know what happened when I got on that level? You know what happened? Let me tell you what happened. God empowered me and he gave me more angels than you have. That's a 7. He gave me more angels because you a coward. God sent me more angels because I exposed the truth. See, you thought that wouldn't happen. Well, if I say something, they gonna come for me. God sent me more angels. That's what he did for me. That's why you can't do nothing with me. Oh, it ain't that they didn't try to kill me. They tried. You know why they didn't succeed? Because I got too many angels. He sent me more angels and more power given from him. He sent more power, right, to protect me as I step out in courage. If you don't take a step of faith, you ain't gonna get the power. See, y'all scared, thinking y'all gonna die. You know why? Because you ain't thought about God giving you the power and protecting you. So you standing around me. And standing around me, I'm just as worse as them. I'm worse than your worst enemy. I would devour you. You ain't gonna come play with me because I'm on the good side. Yeah, I'm letting you know that. Just like you scared of them Freemasons, just like you scared of the government, you might as well be scared of me too. You might as well. You ain't gonna play with me, and you ain't playing with them. You think you gonna come play with me? You tripping. That's why you suffering now. That's why you got COVID-19 now. That's why you got monkeypox. That's why you going crazy. That's why they got mass shootings. You thought you was gonna play with me, but you scared of them. Oh, but we can come play with him. You see what happened to you? Because I'm fighting them, which means I'm more powerful. I'm just as powerful as them. I'm not the side you can play with. I'm not the side you can play with, buddy. I would take you out just like they will. I'll take you away from here just like they will. And that's what you need to know.